A really, really important part of the process that we're going to talk about in today's lesson is having this, let's call it, base of content. One page can have, several images on it. Please remember that you don't just have to have one image per page. A really, really good example is these kind of pages that you see here with one bit of information, like an image, and then some text, and then some image and some text, and then, I don't know, some data and some text. So you can use ChatGPT for this. So what you can do is you can use code interpreter, you can use ChatGPT, and this does use Python. This is Python. But what it's doing is it's going to create a graph which we can then use on our website. So this is one example of doing it. You can save this as an SVG, save this as an image. You can give it data, you can create graphs, you can use DALL-E. And what you need to do is if you go on Tiny Home Hub, I'm going to be using Tiny Home Hub a lot as an example in today's training. But if you go to, for example, Tiny Home Legal, you can see the page has a lot of images. And then right at the bottom, I've got this massive thing where every state in America has its own page where it talks about whether tiny homes are legal in that particular state. What I did was I created a table and I believe I created a graph. Every single image you add to the page needs to have a file name. So what I mean is if you right click save here, make sure you save this as something like Apple stock price over the last 5 years. So then when you upload it to WordPress, it has that file name. And then when you've made this base of images and pages with these images on, that's when we can start to use the auto blogger or, auto page generator or whatever to make useful pages. Instead of just having boring walls of text, we will have all of these images, all of these graphs automatically placed into the pillar pages. You need to put your heart and soul into it. You need to put your unique information that you know about your niche into these pages. Let's get into this. So this is going to be quite complicated, but I want you to follow along and I want you to do what I'm doing at the same time. Provided you already have a good base of pillar pages and a good base of images.
Yeah, and guys, just by the way as well, I'm just also putting in the chat one of Hamish's videos where he talks about how to make those graphs and stuff, so you have reference to it.
So once you have that base, you're giving your heart and soul and energy to the auto blogger. Okay, you need that heart and soul and energy to start with, because if you just use ChatGPT as is, it's universal, it's not specific, and it doesn't have the heart and soul. I'll tell you right now, I've just done this for a software development agency, and I've made 400 pages for them, and they look fantastic. I can't show you because it's a client, but they look amazing. And because they had a lot of good, simple, clean infographics and explainers, and what is this, what is agile development, that kind of thing. Their pillar pages have come out really, really beautifully using this auto blogger because they had a really good base to start with. Let's talk about automating SEO with Python. The first thing we need is an IDE, which is an integrated development environment. The one that most people use, or the one that I've seen the most used, is Visual Studio Code. So if you don't have it, please download Visual Studio Code right now. So what is an IDE? It's a code editor. This allows you to work with files more easily. My IDE of choice is Visual Studio Code. You can't really do anything. I mean, you can, but you need to be a very experienced programmer to do anything without an IDE. Most programmers use IDEs. It's just a way to edit, run, store code. That's all it is. And I'll show you what it looks like. So once you've opened it, it should look something like this. Okay, so this is what you should see. There are a few very important things to understand. This is basically a way to look inside files. It's like looking inside the contents of a book instead of like the book itself. What I like to do is I like to click open folder and then just make a new folder and then select the folder. So now we're inside the folder in Visual Studio Code. So this is a folder. You can see the folder here. The next thing we need is a file. So you can say hi.txt, for example, or you could make a Python file. So you could say hi.py. So you can see that this turned into a Python file and this turned into a text file. And obviously different file types have different functionalities. So we could also do hi.csv if we have a list of something. If we have an export from Google Sheets or Excel, it will be a CSV. If we have a script, it will be a Python file. And if we have text, it will be a text file.
Like, so if I want to take a CSV and like, can I just upload that CSV?
Yeah, you can. So you never really make files. It's the only file type you really make is Python. The other file types, what you do is, so let's just do that as an example. That's a really good question, actually, because that's just something I don't even think about. So let's say we have a sheet. So what you do is you file, download a CSV. Okay, this becomes a CSV file. So what you can do is you can click on your downloads here, and you can click and drag and then press Alt Tab, and just drag it into the folder like that. But then we use Python to interact with the CSV file inside the same folder. So we've covered folders, we've covered files. The other thing we need to cover is the terminal. Now, the terminal is this thing here. You've probably seen this a million times. Maybe you have to change security permissions sometimes that you've looked at a tutorial on Google, or generally speaking, you don't use the terminal unless you're programming. Inside Visual Studio Code, there is a terminal. So if you click on the three dots, or if you just click on terminal, if you don't have, then go to new terminal. This is where we run scripts. This is where we run code. This is where we install things that we need to use. I'll get more into this in a moment, but this is the other part of the IDE. Okay, there's the folder, which, by the way, if you look here, we're inside this folder. It's in HDAVI, which is the user, and then the folder, whatever. Okay, so technically now, if I just run python hi.py, it'll run this script because I'm inside this folder and I'm running hi.py. The other thing you need to understand are dependencies. At the top of a Python script, there will be these statements here. Okay, this is called an import statement. When you have to import something, you are using an external application, an external piece of technology inside your script, but it runs on the provider's server and not on your computer. So if you see here, import OpenAI, the only other way to do what we're doing in this live training would be to have a local model running on your computer. But most people, that's far too technical. So the easiest thing to do is to use ChatGPT. The second thing that we need to understand is GitHub. It's the most common way of sharing code. So instead of copying, you can technically just click inside testing3.py. You can press copy, okay? And then you can just Control A, Control V to paste, and then Control S to save. That's the same as getting the code from GitHub. It's just, if you really, really want to get into using Python and being able to automate a lot of things, you will eventually need to learn GitHub. So I do recommend learning GitHub now so that you can use it. I'll explain how to use GitHub, but this is why people use GitHub. It's just the easiest way to share code. But before we get into that, the other thing you need is Python. So if you just Google Python download, I really think that like learning just a tiny bit of how to execute Python can really change how you do everything, because ChatGPT is such an accomplished coder now. You can make it do whatever you want, basically.
Kind of the intro into programmatic SEO, really, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of just taking it from working with individual sets of knowledge and GPTs and bringing that into kind of holistic knowledge base put together by your existing content.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I don't have to follow along, though.
You should be.
No, I'm the moderator. I'm replying to all of the chats, thousands of chats that are coming in.
The next thing we need is Git SCM. You now have access. I would say the best way to contextually include your business into ChatGPT, semi-automatically. I'm just going to go back to the lesson plan because I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, so one of the first things you need to do is you need an API key. This is potentially going to cause a bit of a problem because not everyone is going to have access to the Turbo API. But for now, I'll just give you all my... If you don't have Turbo Preview, if someone doesn't have it, I will give you my API key for now for this live training. Rowan pays it anyway, so...
I pay what? Sorry, I was away.
No, nothing, mate.
Okay.
It's fine. You can use the one in the WhatsApp. Please don't overload it, guys. Don't go completely crazy. Just use it once. Don't use it for 15 articles for the rest of this lesson. Just use it for educational purposes. And then
Is this what I'm paying for, Hamish?
Yeah, it's fine. Rowan pays for it. It's fine. Don't go completely crazy. Just use it for educational purposes. So what you need to do is you need to copy the secret key from the training. If you do not have this, though, I do recommend setting up your API keys, and I recommend paying ChatGPT, OpenAI some money so that you can then have access to the Turbo. You need to pay them about $5 worth of API. Just get it to create some meta descriptions in the playground for you using the 3.5, something like that. And eventually you'll get access to the Turbo ones, and then you can do this yourselves as well. But you need to give them some money to have access. So what you can do is you can triple click on this WhatsApp message here. Okay, so you get the secret key, copy it, and then where it says these two speech marks here. Speech marks in Python are generally used for you put strings in between them or like data, pieces of information. What you do is you highlight where it between the two inverted commas, okay, like that. Everything between them is highlighted, and then you just Control V to paste. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and then Control S to save, although I don't know if that's actually necessary. I thought it was necessary, but apparently it might not be. So make sure that you, after this training, make sure that you do start using your own API key. I will be deleting that one just because, you know, it might cost me hundreds of dollars. So, but use yours and then unlock the turbo ones is my advice. The final piece of the puzzle is to have an API key. You need the turbo API key, so you can just pay them and they'll give you the turbo API key eventually. You might be asking what an API is. It's a way to communicate with external applications. If you wanted to do everything on your computer, you would need a supercomputer. So what we do is we kind of rent the power of OpenAI's servers and OpenAI's models. We rent them very, very cheaply per use basis. Instead of having all of that tech at home, which would cost millions of dollars, we basically rent it as a service instead. So the message we receive back depends obviously on the message that we send. Same as ChatGPT. When you send a message to ChatGPT, all it's doing is it's sending a piece of code like this to the API, and then it's formatting the response instead of giving you it in the raw format. So now we're at the point you actually have everything you need to run the script. The only thing you would need to change, for example, is the products, or if you're using the service page one, you would change the brand images and links file. You just need to change the inputs. So the script, you can see here, it's uploading internal links. So there's another folder inside here, which is specific to making content. So just open that. You can delete the e-commerce one if you don't need it. It's completely up to you. Okay. So what it's doing is it uploads the brand images and links.txt and the content plan.csv. And in this case, also an example.txt as part of the assistant. So when you make a custom GPT and you upload a file, this is exactly the same thing. Okay, we are uploading the files to the assistant that we are about to create. Does that make sense? That's the first part of the script. You need to put your brand images and your links, and inside the lesson plan, there is a way to do this very, very quickly and very, very easily. This whole section here, I recommend reading this. I might just read through it actually, because at this point in the lesson, you now have the most powerful and customizable automated writing system currently available, the OpenAI Assistance API. I'm not saying that this script specifically is the best in the world or anything, but what I'm saying is the Assistance API is currently the strongest way to automate content. I talked about knowledge last week when talking about custom GPTs, and they're exactly the same here. They're very, very good at giving third-party information to the script. It's almost like fine-tuning. You're giving the script information that's important to you. So think brand images, internal links, content plan, that kind of thing. How I use this is by adding the website's heart and soul to the content that is written. The heart and soul of any good website is the pages that are made with love and care. That's still true even if you use ChatGPT. You can still make something with love and care instead of just regurgitating ChatGPT 3.5 nonsense. This is something I haven't done with Two Men, but I did do it with Tiny Home Hub, which I did show earlier on. Custom images are great, charts are great, infographics are amazing for this. And I think most people are on WordPress here. So the example I've given here is on WordPress. When you're thinking about pages to make, you need to think about things that apply to your niche and that would make sense on several different pages, just like I talked about before. Just remember to put your heart and soul into the base of the website, and then you can use that to automate the expansion of the pages and the website. So in order to do this, it's actually very, very simple. What we need to do is, if we're on WordPress, I'm just going to assume everyone's on WordPress. What you need this plugin search here, Dynamic Sitemap Generator. It's this one here, Dynamic XML Sitemap Generator for Google. Activate it, click Settings, okay, and it should take you onto this screen here. Install plugins, click on Settings here, okay, Google XML Sitemap Generator, click on Settings. You need to make sure that you change this, otherwise it will affect your sitemap that you have now. So change the XML sitemap URL, just put anything. I just put the number 32. You can do whatever you want here. Just change this because probably you already have a sitemap at yourwebsite.com/sitemap.xml. So the first thing you need to do is change this setting here so that it doesn't affect your current sitemap, and then press Save Changes. This will make sense in a moment. Just trust me, okay? Just trust me. Go on Installed Plugins and then go to Google XML Sitemaps Generator. click settings, it says here XML sitemap URL. Just change this. Otherwise, it will have a negative impact because you already have a sitemap on Rank Math or Yoast, or it doesn't really matter anyway, but just in case, I like to be safe with SEO because you can delete this plugin in 5 minutes. So it's not that important. Just so you know, just make sure it might have a weird effect if, I don't know, Google like runs a crawl now on your website. So just to be safe, change the URL here so that it's not affecting your Yoast sitemap.
Activate before I can change settings, right?
Say again?
I have to press activate before I can change settings.
Yeah. Press activate. What it does for us, and this is a beautiful discovery, is if you click on media sitemaps and press enable image sitemap, okay, and then scroll down and press save, and then give it like a couple of minutes or maybe a couple of seconds, refresh a few things. And if you click this link here, it takes you to the most beautiful page you have ever seen in your entire life, which is not loading for me. A sitemap of your pages with image URLs. So look, these have bad names, okay? Because I was lazy, but these have good names. Beautiful tiny house.png. What ChatGPT can do is read these and use them to put images in the right place, as long as they have the right file name. What you want to do is you want to press Control A, just one sec, Control A, Control C, and then open a notepad on your computer, and then Control V, okay, to paste it. You can now delete the sitemap plugin. You don't need it, okay? It's just purely to give you this beautiful list of images and their pages, okay? So you can click here or you can just deactivate it, okay? And it's gone. That makes sense? You now have a notepad with all of your images and all of your pages, all of your internal links in one single page, okay? On one single page. I would rather put it in a text file because text files is what ChatGPT knowledge works best with. In my experience, it works best with text files. So I put it in a text file, but you can put it in whatever you want. So once it's in this notepad, you can Control S. Well, there's two things you can do. You can save it as brandimages.txt, or you can also just put it directly into this file right here. Brand images and text, paste, Control S, save. What I'm going to do, by the way, is I'm just going to delete a lot of these because they're just repeats. They're just these like spammy blog posts. So I'm just going to delete, like, you don't really want more than 1,500 lines of brand information because there is a limit to ChatGPT's abilities and knowledge. And also it will cost a lot of money if you just upload this as a huge file. So I would recommend like pruning it, making it a little bit more like, these are my best pages. These are the pages I want to focus on, etc., etc. Okay. The next part is the content plan. So click inside the content plan.csv. So what I want you to do, guys, is just go on normal ChatGPT, the free one, 3.5. And what you can do is you can paste the content plan like this and say, please change this content plan to talk about my website. The pillar page will always be, the topic cluster will be debt, the topics will be, and then you would put keywords here like how to get out of debt. These are bad examples, but they're just examples. Yeah, how to not get in debt. And then the rest can stay the same. So when you press enter on this, what it'll do is, if it's not being annoying, yeah, I need the exact same format I gave you with the CSV. There, that's it. This is what we need. This is what we need. Okay. So it should give you something like this. You can ask it to don't create titles, just use the topic as the blog post ideas. Yeah, perfect. So now it's just how to get out of debt, let's say, is the pillar page. And you now have a content plan that is capable of creating 2 blog posts. So this prompt has invented titles. Don't invent titles, just put the topic as the blog post idea. Once you have this, okay, you can press copy code, press Control A, Control copy, and then put it inside brand images and links like this, and then open content plan, Control A, Control C, and then try and get ChatGPT to give you some kind of content plan. Does everybody have some kind of content plan? We're not looking to make the best content in the world right now. We're just practicing, okay? Does everybody have, a content plan to practice with at least? If not, I can give you mine. Obviously, it's much better to use yours because you know what's good for your niche. Yes or no? Does everyone have a content plan?
Actually, I just got one. Yes.
Perfect. Does anyone not?
Getting there in 10 seconds.
Okay, perfect. Great. Good. I'm just very happy, even if people can do this, because it's so hard to explain on each. And then make the content plan. You can use the prompts that I just sent in the WhatsApp. Just change the keywords here, how expensive are tiny homes and how big are tiny homes, to something relevant to your business. And then copy them and then put them inside the content plan.csv. Okay. Now, example.text, this is literally just find one of the pages that you like, that you have on your website that is ranking well. So not best portable DVD players number 3. Interestingly, mine has come up with some like tiny home regulations and zoning, which is actually a very important topic, which I never covered on Tiny Home Hub. So that's amazing. So yeah, find one of your pages that is ranking well, something that you could call a pillar page. So this is a page that I like. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag from the H1 and I'm going to drag it down, drag it down, drag it down. Maybe not with these actually, because it doesn't need these. Up to down to the bottom. Okay, and then just Control C to copy it. So you're just copying the body of the article, the main content of the article. Okay, and then go to paste to Markdown on Google, and then paste it. This isn't 100% necessary, but what it does is it gives an example to ChatGPT to use in the future, to use in the article. Okay, it's a way to shape the article. You can also just, if you want, you can just use example 1.text. If you don't want to do it like that, you can use this, which is something I've used before in my videos. If you don't want to use your own article, if you just want to use one of my articles, you can use that if you want as well.
No, I love to use one of my articles because I want to know how to do the tone. Like that's my
tone is something we'll talk about at some point. We're not going to have time now, I don't think. But so just copy the example very, very quickly. Just copy like that, just normal copy. Go to the link, the GitHub link in the WhatsApp. So yuangoddard.github.io, clipboard to Markdown, or just Google paste to Markdown. And then you should see this screen, Control V, copy everything, and then put it inside example.text. Once you have done that, we're done. We're finished. We can run the script. Let's run the script. Let's see what happens for now. And then you can make the process better yourselves. Okay. You can improve the quality of example.text. You can improve the quality of contentplan.csv. You can add new and beautiful images to brand images and links.txt. The important thing is that the file runs, right? So I want everyone to click inside the terminal. You have to type cd chat GPT assistant auto blogger, okay, because we're inside a different file. So I'll send that in WhatsApp. The first thing we have to do is we have to go inside the chat GPT assistant auto blogger file. And then I believe we are also inside service page generator. So you also then need to cd inside the service page generator. So this is a little bit convoluted, okay, because I'm not very good at programming, but you have to be inside the correct folder. The correct folder is the service page generator folder, okay?
Where do we find that?
You have to cd into it. So cd means change directory. So originally you're in this folder here, right? The folder that we started in, whatever this folder's called. Yes?
Yep.
Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to cd, then you can right click here and you can copy relative path, or you can just type it. Chat GPT assistant auto blogger, and then cd inside service page generator. WG, do you understand? Are you inside this file now? It should just say all that should change. It should be instant. It should say that.
Yeah, that's what it did the second time. And then I put in the second command and it basically did the same thing with both of them there. Is that what it's supposed to?
Yeah. So now so now they're all linked like that. It's really long, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All you need to do now is type in Python testing 3.py, and then you're going to run it's done. You've done everything. It's going to work. Python testing 3.py. That's it. That's all you need. What the hell is this? Okay, so this happens sometimes because for some reason you need to put a space between this line and this line inside the content plan. I don't know why it does that. Okay, perfect. Yeah, there needs to be a line here. I don't know why. There needs to be an empty space in the line number 2 in the content plan. For some reason, it keeps giving me this error where it says invalid file type. But if you put a space between the headers and the first row, then it works normally. You'll know if it's working if it says this function get internal links. Okay, does it say function get internal links for everybody or not?
No, I got the it says module not found. No,
Yeah,
OpenAI.
Sorry, yeah, I'm an idiot. Everyone stop. We need to do pip install OpenAI. Sorry guys, I forgot you need to install OpenAI. So run pip install OpenAI. Also, we need to install pip install time. So when it successfully works, this is what it looks like. It says function get internal links at 0x, and it will just run through the content plan one by one, just like that. So is this working for people or not? Has anyone got this working?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, amazing.
Yeah, I got it working with not with the service page generator, but the other, but yeah, the process is
good.
identical.
WG.
So it says processing blog posts?
Yes.
Okay.
It works. And we'll go through the auto blogger. We'll continue with this because I've only shown you how to get it on its feet, but the actual important thing is changing the output to give you exactly what you want. But what I will say is, like you can see here, I personally think this is impressive that something like an auto blogger can produce this content. I think it's good content. I think it looks like a pillar page and it would rank on Google, but it outputs them here. Okay. So it outputs them into processcontentplan.csv. And then let me just show you one more thing before we finish, guys. What you can do is you can go to sheets.new. You can right click on process content plan, reveal in file explorer. This is a beautiful trick, guys. And then on Google Sheets, go to file, import, upload, and then drag processed content plan here, import it, and then you have the actual content here. Okay. And then what you can do is you can say, you can use GPT for Sheets, or you could use ChatGPT manually, just depending on what you want to do, to then convert this into an article very, very easily, very, very quickly. Yeah, this is the final thing you can do. You can use Google GPT for Sheets, for example, but they've moved to a paid plan, which is kind of annoying, to very, very quickly turn this weird looking content into this content that you see here. I hope that was useful. I hope that was, worth spending time on. Yeah, I'm excited to hear what you guys create with this, to be honest with you. I'm glad that it's working for people.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Any questions?
Is there a way that I can play around without screwing anything up with tone? Like if you could just direct me?
Let me just quickly show you which one I would edit in order to get the result that you're looking for. It's this one here. It's where it says instructions on line 30. So if you go to line 30 on testing3.py, so if you click on testing3.py, go to line 30. It says instructions here, right? Can you see that?
Yep.
This is the instructions for the ChatGPT assistant. So what you could do is you could say, copy the tone from example.txt exactly. And then just try and run it like that. And then you can keep making changes, keep repeating yourself, keep trying to get it to do what you want. This is where you would change that exact thing. Also, there's the article request here on line 66, which is specifically telling it to use grade 7 level English. So you probably have to change this because that would be contradictory to what you're trying to achieve, I guess. So you would also probably have to change line 66, which is the article prompt, the writing prompt. Okay, does that make sense? And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, well done, everyone. Thank you all so much for your time, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
you
guys.
guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See you next
Bye-bye.
week.